Good afternoon. I call to order the Knox County Optional Review Meeting for Monday, August 18th. Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll.
Commissioner Rawls.
Present.
Commissioner Durrett. Here. Commissioner Oster. Here. Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Russell. Here. Commissioner Hill. Here. Commissioner Lee. Here. Commissioner Thompson.
Here.
Commissioner Fox. Here. Commissioner Jay. Commissioner Frazier. Present.
Thank you. As a reminder, this is not a voting meeting. It's discussion only. Does any commissioners have items you would like to discuss? Commissioner Hill.
Yes, I just would like to talk about item number 32.
All right. Number 32, Commissioner Hill, you have the floor.
And I was actually trying to find the actual copy of the resolution. It was presented through rules. I believe Commissioner Fox, this was your. This was brought by you, and, well, forgive me that I can't pull the actual ordinance up right this second, but I believe there's a section under the reorg, and it's, and I don't, let me just caveat this, but I don't think this is a bad thing. I get what the purpose is, and I see where we're going in it. I just saw a couple of things that I thought might present some questions. If you'll just give me just a second here. I don't know why it didn't. Let me try that. I apologize. Like I said, I'm trying to get to the actual ordinance. Let's see. All right. Thank you. I think I have it. Exhibit A, filling vacancies. I am looking at section III, and it reads, if there are more, in effect, I think it reads, if there are more nominations than seats available, that will go to a paper ballot with, and the people will write their name of who they vote for, and that's not to be considered my first vote or second vote. It's everyone is weighted equally. My question is, can one person write the same name in 5 times, or however many number of times?
Commissioner Fox?
I think that would be a wasted vote because the intent is to have each commission member provide the 5 people they want to serve on the committee out of the pool of candidates for that committee. So one, to write somebody's name 5 times would result in effectively that commissioner not having a vote on 4 seats.
Well,
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't ask that well. So, for example, there's 3 people that want 2 seats. So, one person or anyone can say, okay, it's, Commissioner 1, 2, and 3. Well, I want Commissioner 2 on this no matter what. So my first line, I'm going to write that commissioner's name. And the second line, I'm going to write that commissioner's name. So does that mean that that commissioner got 2 votes?
No.
So how does,
What we probably need to do then is we need to,
I'm just asking
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get that clarified.
I think, the intent of this is you have seat 1, seat 2, seat 3, seat 4, seat 5, and there's a vote for each of those seats. And so presumably then, a commissioner would only put the names of the 5 people they want to serve on that.
But nothing would stop you from putting the same name in all 5 seats.
But
I'm asking because I just think it needs to be cleaned up.
yeah, it may need to be cleaned up.
That if you're doing a paper ballot, you can only vote 1 time, regardless of the number of seats open.
Let's see here. I thought I addressed something about
And if you did, you may have, and I overlooked it, and then that kind of carries to the next one too. If votes are tied and we have to repeat it again, then can you, if there's 2 seats, can you write the same name twice?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not disputing the what you're trying to do. I just there's nothing that says I couldn't vote for myself 3 times if I wanted.
Right. Yeah, I
The
see what
3
you're talking about.
Yeah, just to clear that, because I don't think that was your intention at all.
No, my intention is that there are 5, if there, for instance, are 5 seats, then you write the names down of the 5 people that you want to serve in those seats.
Okay,
And, yeah,
if you could just maybe clear that up before next week.
certainly.
As an attorney, I know good intentions don't matter. It's what it says.
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was the only thing that I
Okay.
noticed on that. Thank you so much.
All right, sure. And just to let everybody know again why I undertook this, since we're discussing this right now. I went back and watched our reorganization meeting from last September, and we got kind of befuddled about how to proceed because there'd never been this situation of more candidates than slots. And Mr. Moyers made that remark right around minute mark 13:10, 13:20 is when he started talking. And so I thought, well, let's at least take a stab at solving that problem. And this is what I came up with. And plus, in addition, I think it's less cumbersome to do it this way than to literally vote on every person. Take the time for Madam Clerk to call out each person's name and get an aye or no, then add up all the number of votes for that, then go to the next person, do the same thing, add up all the number of votes for that, and so on and so forth, and then at the end tally it all up. That's very time consuming. If we can just pierce through that process and just have, okay, these are the 5 people I'm voted on, and write them down. And I hadn't thought about people gaming the system, but yeah, that's just something that needs to be addressed. Yeah. But that's why I did this, was to try to give us some solution. We may never need to use that solution again, but at least we have something. Yeah. And it may take some trial and error too.
Commissioner Durrett?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Evans, being with the clerk's office, how would each vote would need to be read in the record exactly as written, is that correct? And then do the paper ballots themselves need to be recorded and preserved for public record? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioners have any items? Okay, I'm going to call up, is Miss Beth Hofseth here? Hi, come on down to the podium if you will. She is the only one that's applying for the library board. And so we certainly appreciate you doing that. If you'll hit that little person on the box right there, it'll turn your microphone on. Awesome. Yeah, and if you want to give us a little bit of information about yourself, it'd be great.
All right. Well, I did submit a resume. Hopefully you all have that. Just my background is I love the library. As a young girl, it was a candy store of free books. As I became a mama of 7, chose to homeschool them, it actually was a source of my curriculum for many years, 26 years. And so my troops would go in there and they would get to explore, and I literally wrote my own curriculum from library books. And so that's my love for the library is pretty much been my whole life. And so the thought of being able to just find out what's going on in our libraries here locally, be able to give support and feedback to commissioners. As I understand it, it's an advisory board to the mayor as well. I don't actually even know what that looks like. As in everything, it's a learning curve. But I love learning and I love contributing to my community, and I thought this might be a way to do that.
That's awesome. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. No, this is, yeah, no, this is not, yeah. All right. Well, if you can be back next week at 5 o'clock here, then we will take care of them.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for applying. We appreciate that.
Of course, thank you.
Commissioner Durrett?
Thank you. I didn't get my light turned on fast enough before you called up our guest. I did want to review item number 29, just this section E, where it says sections A, B, C, and D of this resolution shall be included in the county commission rules with changes necessary to implement fully the intent of this resolution, et cetera, et cetera. To me, this should have gone to rules first and come out of rules. Like, that's the point of the rules committee, is so we don't have resolutions that then affect rules changes. Rules committee acts as the gatekeeper for our rules changes, and so I feel like that should be, it should come to rules first.
Thank you. Commissioner Fox, do you want to respond?
Well, and I wanted to ask Mr. Moyers if that's the case, or, I mean, to me, that's the whole point of having a committee.
Yeah, your rules say that no commission rule can be considered by the commission until it's gone through Rules Committee. You can waive that by 2/3 vote, but your current rules say that, I don't have the site in front of me, but they say that it has to go through rules first.
Well,
Commissioner Fox?
I'm sorry, I was pulling up the resolution to take a look at it, and I missed a little bit of the point that Commissioner Durrett was making about the subparagraph B.
Paragraph E, for it to take effect and become an actual rules change, per our rules, it has to go to Rules Committee first and then come to commission.
Oh, okay. You know what? I lied that out, actually, because that really, with this, my intent with this was, when we had this issue first come up last year, I presented it as an ordinance, and we got some pushback from the administration, but the administration said they were okay with the resolution. Then we came down to, okay, well, the problem with the resolution sometimes is that we forget, it's not in black and white in the county code. So I intend to continue to work through the rules process to have something on the commission rule side. And but I also do want something to concrete that will require the administration to provide these on the spread of record. So that's how I decided to craft this. Instead of making it an ordinance, we'll have a resolution, and we'll have rules that hopefully will reference the resolution and memorialize the resolution so that we have the best of both worlds. We have something that the administration feels comfortable with, and we have something on the commission side as well that memorializes it. So that's the intent. I think that we can simply elide subsection E from this proposal, and then we can address the rest of the substance next week. So that's what I would propose to do.
Commissioner Hill?
I was just going to state that I've in fact just basically plowed through with the Rules Committee on 2 items that I wanted changed, but I'm just reiterating what Mr. Moyer said, that I was told, even though he or his office crafted the resolution, that I needed to take it through rules first. So I was just kind of reiterating what Commissioner Durrett was talking about.
Thank you. All right. Does any commissioners have anything else? I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Durrett to talk about regional meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our TCCA, our Tennessee County Commission Association regional meeting will be the same day as our reorg meeting, September 2nd at 6 p.m. at the Museum of Appalachia in Clinton. And I do think that doors open at 5:30. So hope to see you all there.
And if you come, make sure you dress, it's a casual
Yeah.
kind of
it's
dress. So, but
business casual is fine.
it is a lot of fun. Commissioner Jay?
Sorry, that was September 2nd, 6 p.m. at the East Tennessee. Okay. I can talk about item number, find the item number 45. You all have a handout that I've given you about the wheel tax repeal. I'll just open it up. I'll state my case and then open it up for discussion and questions. My basic case for proposing wheel tax repeal is this. First and foremost, it's a double taxation at its finest. If you look at the very first page of this is from our Knox County Code, section 58.1. It actually says, for the privilege of using the public roads and highways, for the privilege of using the things you've already paid for, we're going to tax you again for the right to use the thing that you already paid for. So my first point of filing this repeal is the double taxation, and just something I'm vehemently against. Promises made yet not delivered. When the wheel tax was primarily sold to the public to fund capital projects, including a new downtown library, and in some cases, many people that I spoke to said they were also told it was going to build a new justice center. So depending on who you were, you got 2 different promises. Neither of those have been built, and I just believe that if the government promises to do something with a special tax, it should deliver on it and not wait 20-something years later to take that tax away. And then the third point of the filing of the repeal is just the uncompetitive nature for Knox County businesses. When you look at 6 of the 8 neighboring counties, they do not have a wheel tax. We understand, the effect that every little dollar has on our community. And so you have a map there of both the state wheel tax rates for the top 10 most populated counties as well as the region. And then the fiscal impact of that. The proposal is to anything that is currently being funded by the wheel tax would be funded by the general fund, and the proposal would be broken down over 3 years, and the wheel tax in its total is 1.38% of our entire budget. The next fiscal year, this is the breakdown that worked out with Mayor Jacobs and the Finance Department, would be reducing it by $4, which would be 0.15% of our budget, and then the subsequent 2 years would be 0.62 in fiscal year 27 and in 28. You can see the breakdown of where the wheel tax goes right now, and then I just put a summary of sort of our natural growth over the last 4 or 5 years in Knox County. The ways I think that I've been told we can cover this is for really two big buckets. One, we talked about this in the Finance Committee meeting. The discount rate for the state will be going away, and that has a $9 million swing when it happens. And the other one is the mineral severance tax was approved to go up, and that has a several $100,000 process. And so between natural growth and those two line items alone, I think we can absorb it and continue to provide the services to Knox County. So happy to take any questions, but wanted to make sure I just walked through that presentation that I gave you all as a handout.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Commissioner Hill.
Commissioner Jay, you said the mineral severance tax would be part of making that up. Is that what you'd said?
Just looking at additional revenue streams that the finance department said that would be changing in the next several years. This commission voted to increase this mineral severance tax, and I believe it was going to be an additional $200,000 to $400,000. And then, of course, the state discount rate, which we talked about, is a $9 million swing. That's in addition to other, sales tax, other revenue growth, property tax. I mean, just all of the other natural growth. So I think the emphasis in putting in this is that, while we'll always have needs and we'll always have budget constraints, we are a public corporation with a $1.19 billion budget, and the idea that we can absorb 0.15% of a change is both doable. And so, is there ever a good time to do this? There hasn't been for many, many years, but I think given those circumstances and given the nature of where it is, that we can handle it.
I'm just looking on this and this mineral severance tax in the in this handout that Chris Caldwell gave us, and it looks like it was estimated at, if I'm looking at this correctly, $490,000 for fiscal budget 26, but it looks like it's allotted to EPW. Is that correct?
Right. One of the things that the wheel tax does fund is EPW, so it would be the increase that was just passed would be able to cover that same line item in EPW.
Oh, I'm sorry, because I thought you said that would go toward covering the part of what we would lose in the wheel tax. Is that what you said?
The wheel tax, the wheel tax funds three different buckets: the general fund, EPW, and four different funds. If you see there on the financial page,
right.
The general fund, public library, purpose schools, and EPW. So it's not an exact 1-to-1 ratio, but it helps towards that line item. That one, I'm not pinning that one increase to that one line item. I'm just saying there's a combination of several things that will be able to help support the repeal.
Okay, and I'm just asking. So it in this fund allocation, it puts it into EPW for 26, but we'll take it out to make up the difference?
This repeal would not start until the next fiscal budget.
Well, I got you. That is, yes, that is correct.
So this, it's a bit of future estimating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Fox.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just as, if, I'm asking for, I guess, some explanation or reasoning, because it seems to me like if we should just get rid of this as a matter of principle, then shouldn't we just rip the Band-Aid off and do it now? And we'll let the chips fall, and we may have to dig into some extra funds in order to get through this year, but to me, I don't understand why there's a staggered reduction. Why don't we just say, you know what, this isn't right. The previous commissions didn't keep the promise to the Knox County taxpayers, and we're not going to perpetuate this, so let's just do it now.
It was just a matter of working with finance to find a level in which they felt comfortable that we could absorb in the first year and then subsequent years thereafter. So I like you started with, let's just do a full repeal, but compromise is the art of getting things done. And so this was a level that they felt comfortable with and Mayor Jacobs felt comfortable with. So that's my proposal.
Okay, thank you.
I just think there's too much stuff going on this year that they can't predict and they won't know. And so it's a very eased in approach, but they know of a lot of more things that are going to happen on next year that strengthen the financial position.
Commissioner Jackson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to surprise everybody. I'm actually for this because I do believe a regressive tax is not a good tax. Everything should be a fair, flat tax. That's what property taxes are. It's a percent of the value. And if you own $1 million house, you pay more than the guy who owns a $250,000 house. And this is a very regressive tax. So anything that is, this is a very, progressive move to, get rid of this regressive tax. So, but I am a little concerned, because the majority of these funds do support the library. I do want to make sure that before we vote on any of this, that we have some assurance on where the funding will come from to fund the library and everything else of this. And I understand that, there's supposed to be some additional tax money coming in, but we just found out through Finance Committee that, we're already in the red. So are we going to be even more in the red on this? So I just want to make sure that we know where our funding is coming from to support our libraries.
Yeah, I'm sure Mr. Caldwell will be happy to, walk through any of the numbers that we talked about. And it really is, that's why the first year it wouldn't start until the next budget cycle and is so much smaller. But it is written into the ordinance that anything that's currently funded would be funded by the general fund. I understand your point of, okay, how do we make up for it and where? But that was a number that they felt comfortable would be able to be absorbed in that first year. So I'm open to, if it should be phased out on a different scale or a different timeline. I think the first question is, should it be repealed for principles that I laid out? And I believe it should be. Now the question is, how do we repeal it?
Thank you. Commissioner Russell?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. We're postponing this for a couple of years, but we just learned in Finance Committee that that's when our big balloon loan on our schools are coming due. How are we reconciling that when we're going to have a large debt payment that's coming up at exactly the time when this is going to hit full force?
I think if I remember correctly, our larger debt payments won't be hitting until hold on, I just had it written down.
27.
I think our largest balloon debt payments won't be really hitting us at the peak until 2029 through 2034, and so it's beyond that. This will be 26, 27, 28. And look, I recognize that Commissioner Frazier said there's 150 million needs of this and there's 150 million needs of that, and every district has it. There will be never a perfect time to do it. And so could it be wrapped up in a whole bunch of other stuff? Perhaps. There hasn't been the right time to do it until until now. And so, some of them have asked, why haven't you done it for the last 6 years? Well, I've been talking to them, Chris Caldwell and the finance department for at least 5 of those 6 years about it, but it hasn't been the right time. And so this is a year when we think we can absorb it and then going forward. So.
Thank you. Commissioner Rawls.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Jay, can you give me the actual dollar amount for 26, 7, and 8 versus the percentage?
It's right there on the last page. It's minus 1.7. So the first year would be a reduction of $4, which would be 1.7 to 1,721,000, and then the second year would jump
It's 6.
6 and 6.
Okay, got it.
So again, just taking one item of revenue that we know is going to change. This year we had a $9 million reduction in the discount rate on the property tax alone. That's in 27. That's going to go away completely. So again, not discounting any other needs, but that's why the phased approach.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Durrett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Jay, I understand with the increase of the mineral severance tax that can cover the EPW piece that the wheel tax currently covers. I mean, it's not, like you said, not 1-to-1, but it's close. What about the library, where this is 84% of their budget?
Well, I think looking at just look at natural growth on that last financial summary page. Knox County's revenue, look at the significant growth, $200 million over the last 5 years. We're a growing county. The county is continuing to flourish in people that are moving here, people that are entertaining here, people that are building businesses here. So it's looking at the historical last 5 years, which have been tumultuous at best. I'm looking ahead to what I think are the next most prosperous 5 years going forward, and seeing that surely $1 billion company with this much growth and this much projection can absorb a 1% change. I think about if we had a significant natural disaster, if we had a massive road. I mean, I remember years ago, the school system picked a location at Mill Creek with no infrastructure around it, and we found, I think, $9 million or $7 million in the, to be able to do a massive road project overnight. So I think there's ways to do this, and there's ways to cover it and I'm a big supporter of the library. I'm a Friends of the Library member, and I believe in their services. And so, I talked to them about this as well beforehand and explained the math and sat down with finance, and there's never a great time, but there's a time for a proposal.
All right, and I believe you when you say that if finance says we can find it. I'm sure I believe you and our finance team 100%. My issue with that is, though, and probably like with the $9 million and so many other things, if we do something like this, we probably won't be able to do anything else. And we just heard in our finance committee that our county employees only got a 2% raise for this fiscal year that doesn't start until January of 26.
But this doesn't start until the next fiscal budget. So that
Correct.
has nothing to do with what we're doing right now.
My point is to say we're going on predictions of growth and predictions. And we've been growing since I've been on commission in 2020. I think our population has grown by 45,000 people.
Yeah.
So yes, natural growth is going to occur. And yet we're still at a flat budget. We're still at a point, including all of that growth, where we were only able to give our county employees a raise for half the year. And so that is my concern with all of this. Sure, we could probably take it from general fund, and sure, growth, if we continue to grow and nothing else happens, maybe we can work it and it will be okay. But I mean, we do have debts coming. It's just, and I realize there's not a great time, but I'm also for our tax dollar, our residents not being overtaxed. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm just very nervous about this and about taking, essentially in 3 years, removing 84% of the library's budget. like a consistent funding source. That's just my concern with it.
Oh, but I would argue we do have a consistent funding source. It's our growing economy and our growing Knox County, and that's proven over the last 5 years. It's proven well before that. It continues to be prosperous. We can afford to move it from this bucket to that bucket and continue the services. Will there be other challenges? Certainly. But I would also say if you are that nervous about 0.15% of our budget next year and another 0.62 the 2 years after, then this commission should never approve a single budget amendment or a single designation or a single anything from this point. Like, we should approve no projects. If that's the level of nervousness of this county, that we can't, at $1.2 billion company, find 0.15% of our budget to be able to absorb, then we should start knuckling down really fast and never approve anything that's not within the budget.
Thank you. Commissioner Fox?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to, maybe Director Caldwell would be the person to talk to. I just would like to know how it came about that this particular tax was considered to be the funding source for the library. Because it's not, this tax was never directed for the library. It was directed for other purposes, right?
Yeah, and Mr. Caldwell can maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but my research said that it was essentially put on originally as a, hold on, I have it right here.
You said it was for a couple of projects.
It was it was originally a $6 wheel tax to basically shore up a budget shortfall to not have a property tax increase 20-something years ago. And then it was upped by another $30 as a proposal to do several capital things, mostly to fund a new downtown library, but then there were some parks and library additions and things like that. But it was sort of sold as either new library or justice center, and depending on which interpretation you got. Mm-hmm. Is that accurate?
Probably. Chris Caldwell, 400 Main Street, if you need it or not. You've heard me enough today. So from the finance department standpoint, we have to govern by the ordinance. And what the ordinance says is that the wheel tax is going to go for operations of library, senior center. I mean, it's a litany of things.
Okay. Right.
So we govern by that. And so there was an accounting change back in the probably around 2015 or so, that basically said that special revenue funds had to have their own source of revenue to be maintained as a special revenue fund. So at that point, instead of bringing all that money into the general fund, we moved that source of revenue to libraries and reduced that transfer. So that's how libraries got its revenue source from wheel tax, was because accounting standards said that we had to give special revenue funds a revenue source, and it couldn't be a transfer. But we did it because the ordinance basically lists out a number of things, including libraries.
And I have the original ordinance here from February 2nd, 2006. It says, whereas county mayor recommends amending ordinance, blah, 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 to establish a total rate of $36 per vehicle to help fund education, library, senior centers, downtown redevelopment, and other services to Knox County citizens. So It was a broad swash, but every article that I found was either tied to the idea of building a new downtown library or a justice center.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Lee?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess I'm very concerned because we spent almost an hour talking about how we're in the red and maybe taking away some trash center or charging people for trash. I mean, I'm all for no special taxes, but I just have a hard time with this, taking away this when we're such at a crisis in our budget right now.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You brought up the mineral severance tax, and Commissioner Dirt and I were the two that sponsored that one. That was supposed to be an additional revenue source adding to the budget that EPW needed for paving projects, because we're always talking about we need paving projects. I get phone calls every month saying, hey, can you get somebody out and look at my road? I tell everybody, I'm sending C-Click Fix out almost once a week, telling folks, take a picture, get the work order started. EPW, like Commissioner Lee just said, EPW is subsidizing solid waste. They're trying to keep that pot filled because who wants to close a service center or charge people to toss? That 1.8 million, I'm still trying to do the math to figure out where that mineral severance tax is going to make up the full 1.8 million that this is funding EPW. And now this
It's just part of it. It's not the whole thing.
Right, but that 1.8 million can't go, it's not allowed to go to projects. It's either staff or paving. And we're already eight people short in staff. So we're not cutting it from staff, we're cutting it from paving. And so when you take 1.8 million, that's 20% of EPW's paving budget for the year. And as Commissioner Frazier mentioned earlier, we have $100 million worth of paving projects that we're behind on for houses and subdivisions that were put in and roads that were put in that we can't fund because it's 5 times our annual EPW paving budget. Now, I looked through the capital projects because EPW did a presentation and broke it down by district. District 3 had 5 million, D4 had 11 million, D5 had 23.1, D6 had 58, D7 had 4.7, my district had 21 million, and District 9 had $2.5 million in capital projects. All that's part of EPW. This 1.8 can't go to those. So it has to come out of normal paving projects. And as Director Caldwell said, 26 will be an extra lean year. This year was kind of up, but even next year is going to be more lean. Maybe 27 when the ratio kicks in and we actually have a little bit of breathing room out of a $1 billion+ budget. $9 million sounds like, wow, we got a real increase. But that's this wheel tax. But the wheel tax is, if we get rid of it, we're not going to get it back. It's a revenue source that we have. Everybody expects it. Of the top 10 on this sheet that you handed us, the top 10 most populated counties with the highest wheel tax, we're third from the bottom. I mean, only Hamilton County and Wilson County are cheaper than we are. Everybody charges more for their wheel tax than we do. And to say that it's going to be, covered in the general budget, and when you have, if we can't, eat a 0.15% or 0.62% decrease in our budget, well, and it's going to be covered by extra growth. Well, extra growth requires more services. We have more people move in. We have more miles of road. We have more services. We'll have to have more service centers for the people to throw their trash. I don't see why we're trying to cut out something as small as it may seem, taking EPW with the little gain that they were hopeful to get to be able to pave a couple more miles of road, and now we're taking their entire thing from the wheel tax. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. And to use the mineral severance package, and I hesitate to say it, but you're the only one that voted against it. But now you're wanting to use it to cover taking the wheel tax away. To me, it just doesn't make sense.
Thank you. Commissioner Rawls?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree. I do believe that a wheel tax is a kind of regressive tax, but I would ask Commissioner Jay if we could. Is it possible to change the language a little bit to say if we find a complete replacement for funds each year, then we don't have the wheel tax existing?
I think that's a question for our law department. I'm not exactly sure what our permissible structuring should be.
Well, the statute basically just gives you the option to raise it, lower it, get rid of it. A conditional wheel tax or a conditional tax cut, I don't know that would really work.
Okay.
Under the statutory scheme for the wheel tax.
Okay. I was just thinking through, if we said we're going to lose 6 million, we find a replacement 6, and we know exactly this is a replacement 6 million, and then but obviously that's not allowed in the statutory. So, okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Hill?
Thank you. Commissioner Jay, I don't think there's anybody in this room that wouldn't love to cut a tax somewhere or another. I mean, I don't believe anybody would really turn their back on that. The concerns I'm hearing is where the money might be made up. And I do hear that we've got some potential for some more revenues. Also, I'm hearing we've got potential for a whole lot more needs. I'm just asking if perhaps you might consider delaying this until budget, until we look at our next budget cycle. And at that point in time, because I mean, I'd love to see it go, but like the others, I'm just not real comfortable where we might make it up. So perhaps if we could do it during our budget cycle and pretend like this is gone, so to speak, the wheel tax is gone, where some other realistic areas are that perhaps we could plug it in, and at that point, then bring it on. So I'm just suggesting that might be a middle ground. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take that into consideration.
Thank you. Director Caldwell, do you have anything else to add?
So let me provide some clarity. So just if this body decides to pass this, it's strictly up to you all on how you decide where it comes from. So I think that Commissioner Thompson was talking to Commissioner Jay and brought up the mineral severance tax. That could be kind of my fault. And so in my mindset, when Commissioner Jay and the mayor comes to me and says, okay, if we're going to reduce this by $4 the first year, then 16 and 16, what could we do? And so in my mind, and I'm not the smartest guy, but in my mind, I would start by doing away with the smallest amount first, which is in the general fund, which is about $650,000. So in my mind, do away with that first. Then you go to what is the second smallest amount that wheel tax goes to, which is EPW in the amount of 1.85, I think. So I said, well, you could offset some of that with mineral severance, which I think is about $200,000, and then we would have to make that the rest of that up, because I don't think we'd want to cut EPW. And so I think what you all are saying is your all's opinion, and it's fine. But I think do know that it's up to you where it's coming from. If you said you all want the first $4 to all come from libraries, and that's where it would come from, then what we would try to do is subsidize libraries through a transfer from the general fund, probably. And so I think I heard a comment over here talking about all these are estimates. That's 100% correct. So ultimately, what this was based on were estimates of growth that we have saw over the last handful of years. And so I want to let you all know that. So you all can take it from wherever you all want to take it from. It was probably my fault to say I would start here and go from here to here to here. I just went from smallest to largest, thinking that would make the most sense. You can do with it whatever you want. You know, I think the estimates provided are estimates that we think we're comfortable with, that ultimately that through growth you could get there. Does that mean that there'll be more than that? No, maybe not. Maybe so. I don't know what's going to happen 2 or 3 years from now. So, I think it was our job to provide a plan, and I think that's what we've done. And so, but just know that you can change it however you want, and it doesn't have to come from one place or the other first. But basically, I think we figured out $1 of wheel tax generates roughly $433,000. And so as we're making those cuts, that's kind of what we go by. And ultimately, we're going to try to make that whole. So like if we said all $4 first was going to come from EPW, which is about 1.7 million, which will take away all of that from EPW, we would probably, what we do is transfer general fund dollars back over there through growth. And so somebody was excited that I was speaking. But I'll answer any questions you have from the standpoint of finances. I just wanted to say, don't blame him because of how it was broken out. That was my recommendation, and that's kind of where we are.
Thank you. Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick point of clarification. So I know it was argued by Commissioner Jay, this is 1% of the budget, but I know this was argued that this is only 1% of the budget, which, you know, seems to be easy to overcome. I'm just doing some very quick math here. And the full repeal of the tax is 1.38% of the budget. But if you take out schools, which we just learned we can't deduct for schools, you know, that puts it at about 4%. And that if you then take out the debt service requirement, which we can't really do anything about, that puts it at about a little over 5%. So it's, you know, I just want to clarify that when you look at just the general fund, you know, it's more of a 4 to 5% cut in revenue.
Thank you. Does anybody have anything else? If not, I will turn it over to Commissioner Jackson. Did you want to discuss the draft that you put on our desk?
Yeah, this is just a draft that I've got, and I know that Commissioner Frazier has a resolution going for the Ethics Committee to review our ethics rules for elected officials and county. But I just wanted to address the audit that was done and have a resolution. And this is not going this month, but I wanted to go through a few of the bullet points and let you know what my recommendations are to address some of the shortcomings that the comptroller's audit has. Number one is GPS requirements. You know, what I would require and recommending requiring is that all county-owned and leased vehicles, with the exception, I'm gonna exclude Sheriff's Department and Knox County Schools, is to make sure that all of them have the GPS on them, and that's audited periodically by audit and reported to us. Travel policy compliance. We already have a travel policy. But I want to know that the Knox County mayor or the elected official, management official, is approving any expenses that deviate from the travel policy. And if a higher rate is, and then I would exclude from that, like if they stay at a hotel and it's part of a conference negotiated package. I'd want all elected officials to sign a statement acknowledging that they've reviewed the travel and expense policies. And in regard to the conflicts of interest and outside employment, I would direct the county, or we would direct the county mayor to put a policy in place that no county employee or elected official shall use their position for personal profit or financial gain, and that any outside employment, investments, or financial activity must be disclosed and approved in writing by the Knox County mayor and disclosed. And then if there are any deviations from the travel policy or from this, that it would just be a spread of record to the county commission, that we would be able to see, hey, the hotel per diem rate is $125 a night and you spent $1,000 a night, that would just be reported to us. And I would just like to see what everybody thinks of this. I know I just put it on your desk, but I was going to be working with Knox County Mayor and management and internal audit and finance to make sure that this looks good for next month and see if anybody wants to sign on with me.
Thank you. Commissioner Fox.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Jackson, the only thing, just again, first of all, I appreciate you taking your time and effort to try to create something like this to tighten up gaps we had in our policy. Number 5, the second bullet point, are you talking about just employees of Knox County? You wouldn't be talking about commission having to have things like elected commission officials having to have approval from the mayor, would you?
Good point. Yeah, that would be employees.
I'm sorry?
That would be employees. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good point. That would be to address the issue that came up in the audit.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
I have one quick question on this item.
Commissioner Jake.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. This may be a question for Mr. Moyers. What are our statutory powers to pass stricter and stricter regulations on independently elected officials?
That is an excellent question. There is case law that arose out of Knox County, the Jordan versus Knox County case, that talked about transferring powers, that as part of your charter, you could eliminate the elected officials and transfer their powers to other departments, say under the county mayor. That was, in fact, attempted in, let's say, 28 or 2010? 2010, I think, as part of you may recall, the orange and white ballot. One of those ballots is the reason there's only 11 of you sitting here today instead of 19. The other one proposed to do exactly that, which was eliminate all of the independently elected officials and put their powers under the mayor, who would appoint officials to basically do those things. The voters of this county rejected that, something like 72 to 28. Okay, so that's sort of the outside. Can you get rid of them? When you talk about regulation, it becomes a lot trickier. I don't know of any case law that talks about the general county government putting restrictions on constitutional officials. Part of the problem we have here, if we were an ordinary county, if we were Union County, there'd be no question, you couldn't do it. We're a charter county, which gives us some extra powers, but they're not unlimited. And I am unaware of any case law that talks about the extent to which we can require independent constitutional officials to do anything more than is required under the statute. There is some language that says that we cannot do anything to diminish their authority, although we can add responsibilities to them. So it's kind of a toss-up. I mean, you could attempt it, and there could be litigation, or the elected officials could just comply. But could I tell you as a matter of fact that you have the power to do that? I cannot. The statute's not clear. There's no case law on the point. So it would be an experiment, to say the least.
And what I'm trying to get at here is a review by commission of deviations from the county policy. Not
Right.
approval, we don't have to approve it,
Well,
but, I think that the issue that we had was that nobody knew that
Sure.
these were going on. And we can certainly put restrictions on employees of the county.
Right, of the central county government, no doubt. The only part of your resolution that gives me pause is requiring the elected officials to sign a statement. I don't know what authority you'd have to make them do that. They might choose to do it voluntarily, but I don't know that you could require them to do it. Also, since I'm talking, this might be better set up as an ordinance rather than a resolution. Resolutions tend to they tend to be about one-time things, like approving a contract, all right? You pass a resolution now, 5 years from now, people won't remember it happened. If you put it in the form of an ordinance, it will go into the ordinance books. It'll be the law of the county. So I know it's unsolicited advice, but I think this would be better set forth as an ordinance rather than a resolution.
Commissioner Russell?
I had a question and a little bit of a concern when you're talking about outside employment, investments, and financial activities related to county duties had to be disclosed and approved by the county mayor. If we have, for instance, one of the gentlemen that mows the county parks, he's not gotten a raise in forever, and so on the weekend he mows people's lawns with his own lawnmower. I don't know that we really want the county mayor being able to say, no, you don't have the right to go and mow lawns on Saturday and Sunday to make extra revenue for yourself since you've not gotten a raise. So I'd be a little bit.
That's
that
true,
would
but
just
in
kinda
my
come-
job, I have to get all outside employment approved at my work too, so I don't think it's terrible. But, I was actually just bringing this this is not coming up for a vote, but I'll be sending this to the law department and human resources, and we'll continue to discuss this. But I just, I wanted to see, would you be interested in signing on? And does this fit kind of the, address some of the issues at this audit, and what do we do to address these issues so that way we don't have to deal with this again?
Commissioner Frazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just say, just sharing my thoughts, something that I would consider is actually, should this body, when we do review and consider what I'm putting forth as far as a comprehensive review of the Knox County Code of Ethics, potentially rolling this into that work, and potentially, if we do agree as a body to ask the Ethics Committee to conduct the scope of work that has been outlined, we could include this in the scope of work. That way you're getting a body of mostly citizens on an appointed board who, as I stated when I addressed the Ethics Committee, should have some say in the standards that we're held to. So that would be my thought and consideration, just something for you to think about.
Commissioner Hill?
I think this has really generated some good ideas, very good ideas. And I do kind of hear what Director Moyers was saying about maybe an ordinance instead of a resolution, just to give it more, whatever it is, to have more teeth to it. I mean, the elephant in the room is we don't want to see happen again what's happened. And the elephant also in the room is that we're not, at the moment, we don't have any authority to change that. And that's distressing to all of us. I think that's very distressing to all of us because our first and foremost responsibility needs to be the fiscal use of the taxpayers' money. I mean, that's one of our primary goals. So anything that the body or ethics or Commissioner Jackson or Frazier, anybody could come up with it would help us at least have more, I don't know if the right word's oversight or public awareness that, you know, when typical travel policies are broken, for lack of a better word, or exceeded, that there's not more awareness of that. Just thoughts.
Commissioner Jackson, you've got some work to do. There you go. Director Caldwell, did you have one more thing you wanted to say?
Yeah, in our employee handbook, we already have disclosure of secondary employment, so that's already there for our employees to disclose that. And, you know, I would say that about a month or so ago, Perry and Jeff in my office and Zach Fullerton, internal audit, started working to update our travel policy and travel regulations. And in doing so, we've pulled in IT and Zach staff from the standpoint of building a web portal, which can, we think, strengthen what we're trying to do, which we think will help. And so we'll be bringing a new policy for you all to approve once we get that done. But in talking to Commissioner Jackson, we can incorporate some of his things in there. And I think some of the things in his thing he passed out, we already do, but reiterating it's not a bad thing. Anything that we can do to strengthen what we're doing is always appreciated.
Thank you. If there's nothing further for this body, we will be adjourned.